Okay,
We're
this is
here.
it. This is the NBA DFS build for December 14th, 2023. I'm Taylor. I'm here
First,
with Kevin. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. First of its kind. We've been talking about it, and here we go.
Yeah. First time recording this, so I'm sure it'll go smoothly with no issues whatsoever. This is a DraftKings specific show. Basically doing a build for one lineup that you may enter. We will do it position by position, brief injury rundown at the beginning, a little odds rundown as well, just to kind of see an overall lay of the land heading into tonight. We have a 7-gamer tonight. Decent amount of injury news. We'll pick a contest we want to build for, that kind of thing, and go through it. Let's talk about some chalk we're eating, some chalk we're fading, and try to find a nice, viable lineup you can plug right in. Injury news later in the day pending. So to start, we have the Cavs on this slate again. Evan Mobley's still out. He's been out for the last few games with a knee issue. The major questionable guys, Anthony Edwards is questionable again. Jaylen Brown questionable, but he did do shoot around today, so maybe more probable than questionable. Paul George questionable after leaving the last game early. That's a big one.
Significant.
John Collins, Malcolm Brogdon, DeAndre Ayton are all questionable, as well as Derek Jones Jr., Alex Caruso.
Markkinen is not expected to play either. Sorry, I'm not trying to.
Markkinen doubtful.
Yeah.
Keontae George also doubtful. He got hurt last night. Ruled out. Seth Curry, I believe, was ruled out already. Bam Adebayo's doubtful. Kyrie out. Zach LaVine out. Jordan Clarkson also out as well. So a lot of Utah stuff. We may be touching on the Jazz quite a bit today. Kevin, how are the odds shaking out as of
do you want me to run
2:30 Eastern?
Do you want me to run through every single game with the pricing real quick?
Sure.
All right. So first up, we got Cavs at Boston. 9-point spread, 225 total. Bulls at Heat, 4-point spread, 217 total. Timberwolves at Mavs, 1-point spread, 230.5 point total. These odds are from Bet Online, by the way. I mean, obviously they can differ a little bit. Nets at Nuggets, 9.5-point spread, 230 total. Thunder at Kings, 2-point spread, 244 total. Jazz at Blazers, 3.5-point spread, 225.5 point total. And finally, we have Warriors at Clippers, 5-point spread, 231 total. I guess I could have implied who's the favorite in most of these, but I think that's kind of self-explanatory for most of them.
Right? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, not a big deal. I don't think it matters too much. I think the totals matter more than the spread in many cases.
I can tell you the home team is favored in every game. So
there you go. Portland, by the way,
provide that.
This is the first game all year the Blazers are favorites. So that's pretty exciting for them.
Well, small caveat would be the fact that the Jazz have fucking nobody.
So. Well, yeah. Well, it's still noteworthy. It's December 14th, and Portland hasn't been favored in a game yet.
That is certainly interesting.
But they aren't that bad. Like, they're not as bad as a lot of the other garbage out there. They've been pretty competitive despite a bunch of injuries for some reason. So
no, they're not the Pistons.
They're not the Pistons. They're not the Spurs. They're not the Wizards.
Have the Pistons and Spurs both not won yet in 20 games now?
I think San Antonio is 17 or 18, and Detroit is now at 21.
Horrifying.
Detroit hasn't won since October 30th.
God. They are all on watch, my friend. Depressing stuff.
Yeah, right. They only have the highest paid coach in the NBA, so good for them.
Monty Williams. Blazers still sucked. Let's not get it twisted here. 6-16. Although their main guy has been out for like most of the year. Their boy Anthony. So
yep. Jeremy Grant also out, I believe. I didn't say him, but he's still out for them.
He's been out though, so yeah, that's fine. That makes sense.
Okay. I guess Now we want to figure out what we want to build for. I was thinking a 20 max. If you want to do a single entry, that's also fine.
I am a single entry guy by trade, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the 5K high five 1,189 man. That's what I'll be entering.
I'll join you there.
Oh, you son of a bitch. See at the top, I guess.
Yeah, we will split the winnings.
Yeah.
As we always do.
Well, we always talk about it, and then shit happens, injuries and whatnot, and then we kind of go a slightly different path than what we discussed. Like last night, I was like pretty much off of chalky Jaren Jackson, and I got back on him because I kind of waited. I was waiting for that next batch of games and what news was going to come out with the Lakers specifically. And then sure enough, LeBron was out, and that changed things. And the way my lineup was set up, getting Jaren and like Brunson and other guys made more sense than what I had.
Well, that worked out quite well because Jaren Jackson went completely insane.
Well, that worked out, but the rest of my moves did not. And I also didn't have Giannis, which was just
I didn't have Giannis either.
I went into the slate loving Giannis. I wanted to build around Giannis, and then we talked over all these other great options, and that is the problem with some of these slates is there's just too many good guys to like. So
yeah, last night we had the Pelicans and we had the Lakers, and there was all sorts of mid-range stuff that looked good. So
yep,
hanging up for Giannis was quite contrarian, and I think he finished with 95 DK points.
So
that was fun.
Brutal.
We just got more news. Dorian Finney-Smith questionable, which is meaningful because he plays quite a bit for them.
Brooklyn.
So, all right. So let's start with point guard season, as you can see. Obviously, at the top, we have Luka Doncic. Still under 12K, still dominating. Rough matchup against Minnesota. That's the top defense in the league, but he's Luka. They have no Kyrie. Seth Curry also out. They might not have Derrick Jones Jr. So plenty of merit to paying up for him, as always. Not my favorite play on this slate, however.
I guess it comes down to ownership to some degree. Let's see. We're at point guard here. We've talked about this before. Where like whatever the ownership is, you can almost bank on it being doubled. So right now he's at 10. I don't know if it actually will double to 20, but if you can get Luke at 10 to 20 on this slate, I feel pretty good about that because his upside is, he can do what Giannis did yesterday. So I like him a lot. Not a good matchup, but no Kyrie, and they're like pretty dead. So he's going to play 44 minutes and go not. It's Luka. If he plays 44 minutes, that's really hard to fade. Really hard to fade.
Anyone that plays 44 minutes, let alone a guy that averages like 1.7 points per minute, is hard to fade.
So I currently am building my team around Luka, but obviously, I'm fine with being talked out of that because it is a 7-game slate. There are other options.
I do prefer SGA, honestly, between the two. $1,400 discount. Great matchup for OKC. Luka's got a bad matchup, as I said. Sacramento's bottom 10 in defense. Shea's averaging 1.6 fantasy points per minute. He's really not much worse than Luka in that regard. He is another guy that can play upwards of 40 minutes in a close game. I believe this game has the highest total on the slate and a 2-point spread. I think Shea at 10.6 or 10.5 is underpriced, and I'm inclined to just cram him in.
I can't argue with any of that. That is all correct information. Good price, great matchup, awesome total, tight spread. I mean, SGA is a good play anyways. And then you start adding that formula into it, and yeah, it looks good.
De'Aaron Fox, Steph Curry. I prefer Curry of the two. I think Fox might be a little more popular, which is fine. Neither of them is my favorite, though, at the position. I think that's really just SGA. Donovan Mitchell, a little cheaper. He's been great. He's been great all season. That game just kind of sucks, though, against Boston. I believe we have a low total, and the game has a wide spread. Not really dying to pay up for Mitchell against the Celtics.
No, but he won't be owned.
He will not be owned. So,
and he's a good price, too.
Going down a little further, Harden price never seems to budge. This news is big with Paul George. If he's out, then Harden and Kawhi specifically will get a lot more usage. Perhaps Russ jumps into the starting lineup or something like that. Harden's a good play either way. Golden State, not a great defensive team. Certainly not without Draymond. Don't mind that either. Darius Garland looks overpriced for just $100 less. Anthony Simons' price has come up insanely over the last week, but he's also been dominating.
Yeah, warranted.
Yeah, they're playing Utah.
He's been awesome.
He was
crazy usage rate. Aiton's probably out. Brogdon might be out. Jazz. I mean, like everything looks good for Simon. Like he might not be expensive enough.
Yeah, I mean, if he hadn't gotten hurt, he probably would be well over 8K already. So there is a chance we're still getting a discount, and Utah's terrible. So that is worth noting. Moving down a little further, Kobe White, Derek White.
I was going to say
Kobe White dominating.
You know, I'm actually betting some props with White, so I just feel like it's going to blow up in my face because he's been crushing.
Overs?
Yeah, so over 20.5 points I have him, and I have his over 30.5 PRA. So you just know the second you start betting on that stuff, it's going to just blow up. And because at Miami, not a great spot.
Yeah, it's a brutal spot.
Right. So that said, the usage is crazy. He's just going down and chucking it and like doing whatever he wants. And he's playing well.
Yeah, he's still in play. Like without Levine, the role he's in, he might be underpriced, kind of like Simons, but given the matchups, I much prefer Simons between the two.
And and that's the other thing. He's been blessed with some pretty nice spots. Bucks, Pelicans, Hornets, Spurs, Bucks. Denver's the only like remotely tough matchup he's had on this tear. So, it would make sense for if his run is going to hit a snag, this would be it.
Derek White he's playing really well. It's weird to see him more expensive than Drew Holiday, but he has simply been better than Drew Holiday. This game, though, like I said, not inclined to go out of my way to play it unless Jaylen Brown's out. Then I guess we'll revisit that. Dante Exum is now $6,600 from.
How do you feel about that?
He was 4K a week ago.
He's playing really well.
Yeah. I don't think his shooting is sustainable. He was 7 for 9 from 3 the other night. Minutes are great. Minutes should continue to be great, but I don't know. This is probably the point to jump off, and they're playing Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm not paying 6.6 for Dante. No. Let's somebody
see. Else. Yeah. Malik Monk, very boom or bust off the bench, but love that game in general. Don't really think he's necessarily overpriced. He's getting up there. I don't think he's overpriced.
6.2 for Malik Monk. He's that's why I don't mind paying like 4 or 5 for Malik Monk, because you can get like 10 or you can get 40. It's just too volatile for me.
He's the epitome of a tournament play, especially at 6'2".
Yeah. At 6'2", he's a fade for me.
Josh Giddey dominated the last game, but still 24 minutes with no Lou Dort. Lou Dort's back tonight. I don't hate it, honestly. That game is just one that I think I want to stack.
They're refusing to actually give him minutes. I cannot bank on him getting that stat line in 24 minutes.
No, you can't. Crazy. It's not a good median play.
No. It's a GPP play because the game environment, you're right about that, but I can't do Giddey.
The best play on the slate is Colin Sexton. He's going to be the chalkiest play on the slate. I think, especially in a single entry build, we're playing Colin Sexton. No question.
Yeah. He's like,
the only debate is whether we're playing him at shooting guard, which we probably are.
Yeah, because shooting guard sucks. You're probably right about that.
Scoot Henderson, don't mind if Brogdon's out. He actually played well in the last game for the first time all season, so maybe he's figuring it out. Who knows? Great matchup, though. Brandon Pujemski.
No, Scoot screams of chase.
He's not even that expensive, though. I mean, I don't mind it, honestly.
He's a good price, but he fouls all the time. He's like mini Jaren Jackson, just so
Yeah.
hands 5'4",
Jaren
5'5",
Jackson Jr.
4'4".
Jr.
Yeah. No, seriously, look, this is disgusting. These are his last like 7 games: 5-4, 5-5, 2, 5-5. Those are his fouls. Like, you cannot trust this
He will
guy.
foul. No.
He was born to foul. Yeah, he's going to foul. So no.
And
Especially
honestly, beyond that, Pajemski, he got helped by Clay and Andrew Wiggins getting benched the other night, and Draymond Green getting ejected.
he's a good player, but that feels
He
like
feels
a chase.
like a chase too. Yeah.
That's a big chase. And like I said, he's a good player, and his role could increase slightly with Dre out, but 5'3" for a guy who either could still be on the bench or just, he's a rookie, so a little bit risky.
He's vital, but not a guy that I'm actively cramming in either.
No.
Beyond that, there's really not much. I suppose you can make an argument for Chris Dunn as a punt, but I don't think I'm doing that.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything else stand out. By the way, it's worth noting that Scoot's minutes projection is still kind of low, which could mean Brogdon is more likely to play. We'll see. Or did you say
it's
he was
that way because they just have him projected in, and it'll rise if Brogdon.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I wouldn't want anything to do with Scoot. Simons still. I don't care about the price. If I get to him comfortably, Simons is still very appealing because the game is good and his usage is crazy.
I don't know why I glossed over Jamal Murray, but he's 73, which is cheap for him. Missed the last game, but he's probable tonight against Brooklyn. What did he play in the last game? 29. Super efficient shooting.
Yeah, that seems unsustainable.
But he's cheap, so we're kind of paying for the.
I think he's an okay play because the price, but that game was already a 9.5 point spread before Dorian Finney got ruled out, and not like he's a big mover, but like that game's already looking like a blowout, and now even more so. So
Certainly
I don't know.
Possible.
I'm not really into Nuggets tonight.
Okay, I think so. After going through that, SGA is my favorite. I love Simons. Fine with Harden, and obviously Sexton. But I do think Sexton's more of a point guard or a shooting guard play.
Yeah, I'm sliding Sexton to shooting guard because I hate that position. And then for me, point guard is probably between Luka or being swayed to you with SGA or Simons. Those are my 3 guys I'm looking at. And they're all in very different price ranges, so that's kind of nice. I'm going to leave point guard open, and we'll get back to it, and we'll see like how far away am I from cramming Luka in, and just let that be the decider at this point.
Works for me. We can slide Sexton in at shooting guard, but still go through it. Sure. Obviously, the guys we haven't touched on. Anthony Edwards is here. He's questionable. He'll probably be limited. I am not into that at all. Even in a good matchup, I'm too worried about him just not being ready or being on a limit or something. Not sure I can pull the trigger on that. I do love.
You talked about him, but I also will say Harden. Harden is like, I probably would go Harden over Simons. Actually, now that I think about it, Harden also could be at shooting guard, I think. So you could go either way.
He cannot actually.
Oh, really?
Classic DK.
Positional flexibility in my butt. Come on. All right. So he's a good point guard play, though. I like him there.
I also love George, though, if he plays. I don't think he'd be limited if he's good enough to go.
He did participate in shoot-around, so maybe we can just stay away from Clippers after all.
I still want to play him, though. Like, if he's in, he's been steady. His salary's still good. He's guard forward eligible. I have no issue with that. No Draymond either for them.
Sure.
Shaden Sharp, another guy that plays like 40 minutes every night and seems to crush, but Brogdon could be back. I think he's a play if Brogdon's out. Maybe not if Brogdon's in.
I think he's a little bit expensive, especially if Brogdon is in, and with Simons there, I just think it's 8K is a little little bit rich when they're healthy.
Dinwiddie, not into that. Cam Thomas, overpriced.
By the way, though, for game log watchers, you're not wrong about Shaden Sharp.
No, he plays
He's
tons of
great.
minutes, and his usage is
crushing.
there with no Jeremy Grant. Yeah, he's not overpriced, I
Yeah.
don't think.
No, he's not actually. I was thinking of like a week ago because I haven't even looked at him lately. But yeah, he's been on fire. So I stand corrected. Shaden Sharp is a fine play.
Caleb Martin, speaking of sticker shock, is 6,900 now. Not sure I can get to that.
I mean, he's playing a lot of minutes.
I think I'd rather play Derek White if I'm playing one of those two.
Hey.
Klay Thompson?
Nope.
Malik Monk, Giddey. We're kind of getting in the same guys here. Norm Powell could start if George is out, but like you said, he shot around, so we're not expecting George to sit necessarily. This gets ugly in a hurry, doesn't
it? Sure does.
THT?
Yeah, depending if he starts.
Markkanen, doubtful. George, doubtful. And Clarkson out. Minutes should be there.
Collins, also questionable, right?
Collins, questionable, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, THT, Collins, Sexton, Kelly Olynyk, we're going to get to that, I'm sure. Any Utah guy that starts, I like, to a degree. What about I just was looking at him. What the heck? Oh, well, KCP is out. I don't know how much this moves the needle, but in terms of value, whoever starts in his place, if they're cheap enough, could be interesting.
Strother started the second half over him the other night.
4.6. That seems interesting at the least.
Yeah, he's been solid. Christian Brown also could start. Not as into him. He's not very good per minute. I don't know. Like, I'm really not dying to play either of those guys, even if.
I mean, hopefully something else opens up. But if Strother is your last guy in at 4.6, I don't hate that. Brown is just like I think he's a decent real life player. He's like a glue guy, utility man. He's not a great DFS player.
Yeah, so that's not doing me any good.
No.
Yeah, so we're talking about. We already plugged in Sexton here, but I think there are a bunch of options that are viable, including THT is probably the one that stands out to me the most. Yep. Sadly, not that I'm dying to play THT ever, but
if he starts, I like him just fine. I don't see. He does a lot of different things. He's pretty versatile, so there's nothing bad about him if he's going to get good run.
Probably shouldn't have glossed over Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, they got a lot of guys possibly out, so he could crush again.
37 minutes, pretty good price on him still.
He's probable, so he'll be in. And Derek Jones Jr., as you noted, is questionable. Kyrie out, Seth out, Josh Green out. So yeah, he's going to play a lot. So 6K flat, that's not too bad.
No, it's not. Totally fine with that.
Yep.
The DFS news is kind of notable just because Royce O'Neal could play a lot. I know we're all dying to play Royce O'Neal.
I can't wait to do that.
So I think we can move on to small forward at this point, even though there's a lot of overlap here.
Yeah. Not really feeling Tatum in a possible blowout. Not really an amazing matchup, but he is cheap for what he can do. And he's not going to be owned. So he's certainly interesting for those reasons. He does project decently, and like I said, 6.6% ownership. But if you're going to play him, why not just play Kawhi?
Yeah. Kawhi is getting a little more expensive, but it's justified, I think.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler not doing anything for some reason, despite Miami being down 2 starters and 3 starters, I think.
How'd they win that game? Nobody did anything for Miami. They all sucked.
That's what happens when you play the Hornets.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like. I'm not drawn to Kawhi, especially if PG-13 is going to be in, and the price going up a little bit. So I think right away, based off what you said before, the first guy who stands out at small forward would be Sharp at 8K flat.
Sharp looks good.
Jalen Williams, that's a pretty good price. 6'7".
It's not bad. Dort did miss the last. I don't know why Jalen Williams didn't play in the last game. He played 22 minutes. What's up with that?
Blowout, I guess. They won by 14. So it must have been just a blowout. No foul trouble. Wasn't hurt.
One of those things, I guess.
Well, that's OKC for you too. Well, Giddey was playing well. Maybe he only played 24 minutes. I don't know. OKC is. I don't like messing with OKC if I don't have to. They're weird.
They have a deep rotation. They play like 13 dudes.
No, not a fan of that at all. I'll do my daily Patrick Williams mentioning, although I'm not drawn to the price or the matchup, but 5'9", I mean, you could do worse for jamming somebody in. He's got a roll. Your boy Royce O'Neal's 5'6". He's in play. Jonathan Kuminga, definitely in play at 5'4" with no Draymond Green.
Yep.
THT, 5K flat. I'm liking that. I don't know. I don't really see Strouser, I guess, if we want to do that.
Fontecchio?
Nope.
Why not? Why not?
No, just because I don't think he's very good. Well, because how many guys are you going to play? He's 5'1". I'd rather play THT. I trust him more.
I think you can play many Jazz guys.
No, I know. You can play like 5, but I'm already going to play Sexton, probably Olenek, and THT. I don't think I want to like bank on all those guys hitting.
Another guy you rolled by is
fine. He's viable, but he'd probably be like the last starter on Utah that I would slide into my lineup.
I think Jaime Jaquez is not a bad play for 6'3". Not really trying to target that game actively, but does a little bit of everything while he's out there, and don't think he's terrible. Jaime Jaquez Jr. He's 6'3". Are you?
Yeah, the Miami guy. I always see his name, and I always want to say Jamie.
Jaime Jaquez.
So when you say Jaime, I was like, who the hell are you talking about? Well, he's fine. I don't know. It's a little expensive.
Lou Dort is cheap.
For a good reason.
For the dollar, for 43, he's got a roll. Good game.
39 minutes last game. Boy. Oh.
That was overtime.
I know. Yeah. Still, he played like quite a bit. I don't know. Never feel good about somebody like Dort.
Nah.
He is cheap, though, and in a great game. So you're right.
Sam Hauser, like we're getting into some gross territory now.
Yeah, I don't think so. Here's the way I look at it is you can't play everyone. So you just need to unless you're, entering 150 lineups, I just play single entry. So I look at who do I actually feel really good about. And Sam Hauser is not going to fit my life. He's not going to be in there, I'll have a tight player pool. I'll have like 5 studs I really, really want to pay for. I try not to pigeonhole myself too much. Like I came in loving Luka, but I might not play with Luka because you're making good points about people like SGA. So, but yeah, not Sam Hauser. He's not on my radar tonight.
I'm fine living in the Kawhi, Shaden Sharp kind of range at this position. Unless you want to go down to Tim Hardaway.
At small forward?
Yeah.
I slid THT in.
Okay.
I can always...
I'm game.
If he doesn't start, I'm going to be less interested.
I feel like he won't, but he should still play enough to be worth it, I think.
I might just pivot to your boy over there, Fontecchio. Because then he becomes a lot more appealing. He's going to have a lot more usage in the starting lineup if THT's not in there.
Fair.
All right, forward.
Power forward.
Are you going THT or are you going Tim at small forward?
I plugged in THT right there.
Okay.
THT, not THJ.
I like THJ though. I don't have a problem with that if we have that 1K left and we feel good about it.
Agreed. We got Kawhi again over here. Karl Towns is too expensive, I think. Mikal Bridges is really expensive. Not dying to do that.
No.
MPJ is overpriced. This is an ugly position at the top.
It's just nobody that I feel compelled to pay for, you know?
Yeah, I think in the mid-range, you can kind of scroll past everyone until you get to Keegan Murray. I think Keegan Murray is a little interesting. Plays plenty of minutes. Game on target.
I don't hate Keegan Murray. It's a really good, cheap option with a better usage than you'd think in the best game of the night. A little bit below him, Kuminga. Yep. I really like Kuminga tonight. Fontecchio, your boy, can use him there. Depending on what the lineup is, oh no, Jabari Walker wouldn't really be that relevant, would he? I know Ayton might miss, and Jeremy's out, so I don't know. 4.9 is a little high, so never mind. Nobody else really stands out, I don't think.
Yeah, this is either Kuminga or Murray, I think. I'm inclined to side with Murray.
And I'm inclined to side with Kuminga.
The Warriors are kind of like the Thunder. Like, you never know who's going to start for them. They kind of do weird shit all the time.
But I know they really like Kuminga, so even if he doesn't start, he'll probably still get like 28 minutes off the bench, which honestly, we get afraid of guys off the bench, but sometimes that just means they have like monster usage all by themselves. So
it's not always a bad thing. No, it's not a bad thing.
Well, because look at THT, your boy Tim Hardaway. The other day, I actually got a little bit afraid of that, and who did I use over him? It was disgusting, the difference in fantasy points. I can tell you that much. And no, it wasn't him. It was yesterday, Trey Murphy. I went with Herbert Jones instead of Trey Murphy. There's only a difference of 35 fantasy points. No big deal.
Yeah, that didn't doom you, I'm sure.
So, and yeah, he did that. And then obviously Tim Hardaway Jr. played like 37 minutes off the bench the other day. So sometimes not playing or not being in the starting lineup is actually pretty okay.
Yeah, he'll play no matter what. I'm fine plugging him in.
Yep. Center.
I guess I should have changed the banner. Whoops. Let's see if we can do this here.
What are you changing it to?
Hey.
It's actually not center season though, really. It's
it's just what we're on now is all.
I mean, you got. Well, by the way, Sabonis is super cheap.
Sabonis is one of the best plays on the slate.
Yeah. Wait, come on. Are we just stacking the Kings game over here? Like, I feel like you really just want to stack the Kings.
I do. Well, also Holmgren. Look at Holmgren. He's 7,400. That's ridiculous.
Why is he only center? Why is he center only?
Because he's a center.
I know, but come on. He can play stretch 4 too. Give us some wiggle room here, DK. This is ridiculous.
I assume we are not paying for Jokic tonight.
I mean, I don't want to ignore Jokic, but Jamal
you do.
Murray. No, well, I mean, Jamal Murray's there. Aaron Gordon is back. It's a 9.5 point spread. So yeah, I kind of do want to ignore Jokic. If I'm going to pay up, it's going to be Luka, maybe SGA.
Vucevic has been quite good, but not in love with that spot against Miami.
Although a little misleading with no Bam there.
That's true. It's not as brutal as usual, but still a bad game overall, pace-wise and stuff.
It's got a really hefty 217 total, so absolutely disgusting.
Rudy Gobert, I haven't played in a while, but he's kind of shredding this season. I do prefer Holmgren in that range, though.
I always like Holmgren. You have to talk me into that.
Let's see what else we got. John Collins overpriced. Nick Claxton looks a little pricey. Jared Allen without Mobley. Never really loved that. Kessler overpriced. Subats overpriced.
I think he's fine, but I wouldn't.
Allen?
Yeah, he's fine. Good price, but 9 point spread. Not really like an easy matchup at all. So it's like,
yeah.
I think he's like he'll get rebounds, but like nothing else. Probably in this spot.
And then cheap, you have Olynyk, who's been starting, but the minutes are so unpredictable. It's really hard to have faith in him, but he does stand out quite a bit per dollar per projection. And who else we got on the cheap end? Trey Lyles. I
Isn't he
think Trey
questionable?
Lyles is questionable. Yeah.
I'm just gonna use that questionable tag to comfortably get me the fuck away from that.
Likely a good call.
Zero hesitation. I am with you on the inconsistent minutes, but Olynyk looks really good. I mean, fuck it.
I wish he wasn't center only.
Yeah, I know. It would be nice if you could slide him into that forward spot. Oh, hey, don't kill the messenger here, but Dario Saric. I mean, his
maybe
price sucks, but he actually has been pretty good this year. And if he's gonna like push for 30 minutes with Draymond out, I'm not gonna play him. Probably, I probably would play Kuminga instead. But he actually is not that bad of a play. Let me see real
it
quick.
just seems like they split the minutes with him and Looney, and they both kind of suck all the time as a result. You know?
Yeah, he's not even that good of a points per dollar play. So
no.
Never mind about Dario Saric. I don't think
let's
really. Oh, Duop. Do you like him?
He's okay. Doesn't really have a ceiling though.
Ain't that the truth? But if Aiton's out, I mean, 4.5, you could do a lot worse, especially in probably the second best game of the night to target.
Yeah, he's a fine value. I think we have other value that I prefer. Taylor Hendricks, 4,200. Minutes have been up a little bit of late since they banished Omer Yurtseven to hell.
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, he's 4.2. He's fine. A proven guy coming off the bench, I have no qualms with taking a shot at. But Taylor Hendricks coming off the bench, I'd be a little bit worried of like a random DNP or like him only getting like 12 minutes for no reason, you know?
Yeah, Utah does that. Like we never know who's playing for them, honestly. Right. That's why Olynyk's scary. Center only, just really, there's a lot of opportunity costs. Like I wish we could slide him at forward.
Wouldn't they start Walker in this situation?
They didn't last night.
I know, but why not? Why are they not starting him? He's good.
I don't know. It's bizarre.
It is. Do they just not want to win? Is that what's going on here? Tanking?
I don't know why they didn't tank last year when they could have gotten Wemby.
Well, they were actually like kind of good initially.
Yeah, but they should have tanked. Like, right, tank. Right. They have the same roster essentially.
Well, it was all rigged for the Spurs anyways. So
that's true. Cares? It was correct. That's the correct take.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to move on to our top fade?
Chalk we're eating?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Let's see. Ownership projections. We're eating Colin Sexton. We've been over that.
Big time eat. Feasting on Colin Sexton chalk. By the way, Dort comes in as the second chalkiest player. Fucking fading.
Yeah, that's not good chalk.
Sorry, I agree on the matchup and the minutes and the price, but if that dude is going to be 31% or higher, no thank you. That is where I will fade.
And this is weird all the way around. Like Olynyk, Taylor Hendricks, Chris Dunn, they're all Christian Brown. There's a lot of bad, sketchy chalk out there.
I don't even think there's a standout fade. I'm fading Dort. I'm fading Taylor Hendricks. I'm fading Chris Dunn. I'm fading Fontecchio. I'm fading Christian Brown. Yeah, those are all my fades. I'm fading all those guys.
Yeah, it's not too hard to get different if that's going to be where people are.
No, not at all. No, in that case, whatever upper priced guys you want, go get them, and then just don't use those sacks.
Yeah, I still am inclined to cram SGA in there if I can.
I mean, obviously he's a good play, but at 10-5, I don't know if you need to cram SGA in. They're healthy.
You don't need to, but they're healthy. He still plays a ton and still has a huge ceiling.
That's true. I think the OKC guy I like the most, though, is Chet.
Yeah, the issue with that is I just think there are other centers that are comparable and appealing as well.
That's true.
Like Rudy. I think Rudy's solid. I think the Mavs have been like one of the worst rebounding teams in the league, if not the worst this season.
Super
Which
shocking.
is music to his ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 27th in rebounds.
That said, he doesn't really project amazingly.
No, but
35?
does Chet?
That's a big bowl of meh. Does
Chet projects for 38.
Better, 38. Got a better ceiling.
Yeah. What about Simons? Are we prioritizing him?
I'm thinking if you get to him, he's a great play, but I don't think you need to force him in. Okay, honestly, here's what you need to answer. Are we stuffing in a stud? Do we have to pay for a stud on this slate? I don't think you do.
No, you don't have to. Like if your stud is Sabonis, you
Yeah.
can get away with that for sure.
You're going to have a way better lineup, I think, if you have a guy at like 9K or so being your stud. And he can be your stud. He projects for 48.
Yeah, he's like 5. Obviously, he's too cheap. He's mediocre, but he's too cheap.
Okay, so we're at least in agreement that a lot of that chalk is pretty gross, and we're probably going to fade a good portion of it because why wouldn't you? Who is your lock? Who are you 100% playing besides Colin Sexton? Because we're both playing Colin Sexton no matter what, basically.
It's tough because I don't have a lot of conviction about THT, but he might be the one.
THT?
Yeah.
That's funny. THT. You were a little bit hesitant on him when we first started talking.
It's just because the cheap guys, other than Sexton, are just kind of appealing, and I feel somewhat confident in THT to at least get 25-ish minutes, even if it's off the bench.
It's funny that you say conviction because really this slate just is wide open. I came in with my conviction play being Luka, which is probably a little bit lazy. But the more I look at the slate, I don't think you have to pay for Luka or Jokic.
No, you don't at all.
So I might not. Honestly, the spot for Luka kind of sucks. So it's like
it does suck straight up.
This definitely feels like one of those smash Luka spots where he gets 48, where he's just meh, and that doesn't even come close to paying off his salary. So
the only thing is he's playing 40, 43, 44 minutes. So even in a bad spot, that's hard to pass up. But I think you can go with double center Sabonis Holmgren and just kind of build it out from there. I think that's a really good way to stack that game.
Yeah.
I mean,
if I stack that game, it's really hard to not play Dort if that's the case. I wouldn't play Dort as a one-off at that ownership, but as part of a game.
I don't think you have to worry about the ownership on, Sexton and THT might be super chalk. I don't what's Dort? 20-something percent, 30-something? Yeah. I think
dude, single entry, he's gonna be chalk.
Yeah, but the question, who do you play if you're not playing him? There's really no one else in that range that's appealing.
Yeah, if I'm stacking that game, I think I might change gears a little bit and I might use Dort. And then I would just kind of double down on what I said before, where I'm probably going to fade the Jazz guys that aren't as reliable, like Fontecchio, Taylor Jenkins, those kind of guys. I'd fade
Taylor
those.
Jenkins, the head coach of the Grizzlies.
Wait, what's this guy's name?
Hendricks.
Fuck. Okay, Taylor Hendricks. Yeah, well,
he's not a bad Dort pivot though at forward if he's going to be a little bit less popular.
It's not much of a difference. Why get 10% less ownership when Dort is just the better play? He's the better play between them for sure.
He is. The minutes are more reliable.
Yeah.
It's pretty gross out there, honestly, on this slate.
Yeah. Okay. So we are looking at. Let's just file in here. Let's try to really quick see where we're at and leave that out for anybody to see. If I'm putting Dort in there, let's see. If I'm going no stud, Simons is looking interesting. Then I'll go get Sabonis as my top stud. And by the way, is he going to be owned? I don't think so. 10%? That's fine. I don't mind that at all. Then what do I do?
Maybe what do you have?
Well, so far I got 6.2 per with 2 guys left. I got Simon, Sexton, THT, Kuminga, Sabonis, Dort.
Well, you can plug Holmgren in. That'll leave you with 51, which gets you nowhere.
Yeah, what does that leave me with? Nobody I want.
Well, you can play at it. I really don't think Harrison Barnes is like an awful play.
Well, hold on. I have Dort at the forward, so is he? Nope, he's just small forward eligible.
THT, you can play at guard,
Okay,
though.
let's do that. There's our flexibility, DK. That's why we love you. Okay. And we got THT at the guard. Is there anybody at forward that I can feel good about? Harrison Barnes. Fontecchio. Here we go. Fine, I'll do Fontecchio. Fuck it. We'll do it live. All right. So I got Simon, Sexton, Dort, Kuminga, Sabonis, THT, Fontecchio, and Chet.
That's it.
That's it. I wish
the winner.
It's a good lineup for a single entry. I mean, that is the key to play to your contest, though. Like if you're playing like a huge GPP or mass entering or whatever, you are not a good amount of chalk here. You're not going to want to be that chalky. But for a single entry, you do want to eat a lot of the good chalk and then get different in just a few spots. At least that's what has worked the most for me. You know, feels a little bit not great fading the Warriors Clippers game. I hate fading the Hammer game, but I'm not going to force it unless PG-13 is out. If he's out, then I do like Harden and Kawhi a good deal there. I actually am not fading the game. I have Kuminga. Chalk be damned. I like Kuminga there, and that's not even forcing it. I just like him as a play.
Plus, in NBA, especially single entry, eating a bunch of chalk is generally good because most of the chalk is chalk for a reason, you know? So
right.
You just have to get different enough to still have a path to the top, and I think this lineup gets there. I think it's really good, and I'm actually inclined to play it. I will have this in.
What's the lineup that you're rolling with?
I mean, I built the exact same one. I had Barnes instead of Fontecchio.
Oh, I thought you were on SGA.
No, I did the double center thing with Sabonis and Chet.
And it is pretty alluring.
Yeah, I mean, you're stacking that game. It's 2 underpriced centers. You're fading the true spends, which is scary if Luka gets 91, something like that. But
yeah, no, that's the thing is though, it's kind of an irrational fear, isn't it? Because
I mean, it's an outlier outcome.
They don't always do that.
No, of course not.
Most likely is Jokic and Luka both get like 60 to 65. You can survive fading that. And people like don't think you can for some reason. As long as Sabonis doesn't tank, your replacement stud has to be good. If Sabonis gets 50 to 60, that's a smash. I win on fading the other studs, right? And then the rest of your lineup just can't suck. Which
ideally not, yeah.
It's a tall ask, but in a single entry, not actually as important as would be for like a big contest, because you really just need to be like respectable to cash.
Yeah, and I think this lineup is totally capable of reaching the top, and you have a decent floor.
Yeah. Any big news before we sign off here?
Nope. I believe we've touched on everything. So we're good to go.
It's like Sabonis, Simon's out. Just completely wrecks the lineup.
That would suck. Let's hope nothing like that happens, but it's always possible because it's NBA.
That's true. Good deal, man. Good rundown.
Yes, sir. Well, guess this is where we sign off.
All right, good luck, everybody. Anybody who watched, good luck, and hopefully we helped you in your process. But remember, like Taylor suggested in the beginning, keep on top of injury news, get your starting lineups concretely before you make your final decisions before lock. Oh, and make sure you do leave a little bit of wiggle room for games after lock so you can take advantage of late swap. Just in
Always
case.
Late swap. Late swap is very underrated.
Because the Utah-Portland game and the SAC OKC game that we're mostly stacking, those games are at 10 ET. So you're kind of actually already okay. Because we're fading the Boston, Cleveland, Chicago, Miami games, and we're not paying for Luka. So we actually can just sit back and relax until later tonight.
Sounds like a plan.
All
All
right.
right. Thanks for watching. See you next time.